E360 TV proudly presents Messages of Inspirational Stories, live streaming now to millions of devices including Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, with your host, Donna, producer and host, Jim Grant, producer and host, along with Michaela Vidal, administrator and host, and Gaia Ginwa Balconi Wada, editor-in-chief.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Messages of Inspirational Stories. This week, we are talking about From Our Heart to Your Heart. Very, very important subject here.
Yeah, you might say we got some skin in the game there, and we're going to be sharing some things with you. And we were getting ready to go live, and I just thinking, wow, Donna's so quick on that, let's go live button. We're just a heartbeat away from going live, so I better be ready. But we're going to be covering some things. So we're going to give a recap of yesterday a little bit in just a moment about the warning signs. And we're going to cover some other things about heart disease as far as the types, the causes, the symptoms. And then we're going to be talking something that's near and dear to my heart, and that is the Widowmaker, because that was the rascal that caused me to have a heart attack, that caused me to have open heart surgery with 4 bypasses. And I want to, go into some detail about that. And main thing of it is, if you're facing open heart surgery, don't let it scare you to death. I'll just simply say, before we get started into going over a few fun things with what the national today is, I didn't need any pain pills in the hospital or at home after my surgery. I'm serious. And I wasn't unique. That was par for the course with the other folks that I attended cardio rehab with who went through the same procedure that I did. So,
Right.
But let's get started on some fun things here. I want to talk. You're such a book reader. I'm going to let you start this one. She loves books.
I do. Today is National.
That's what she loves about me. She says, Jim, you're an open book.
Well, today is National Read a Book Day. And I am an avid reader, and I actually need to make a trip to the library today.
Yeah.
But, and I love the public library because you can get any kind of genre there you want. And of course, we all know you can order whatever books you want online. But, it is to indulge book lovers in their favorite hobby, guilt-free. And so I'm just going to read this little paragraph and go into it. But building new worlds to life, books enlighten us and transport us on exciting adventures. And they challenge our perspectives on the human experience in ways unmatched by any other media. In a world deluged by technology, National Read a Book Day encourages us to silence the noise and turn the pages for a while. Now, how true is that?
What's really amazing about that, reading a book as well as writing something down with a pencil or pen on a piece of paper, there's just something about that physical contact that has so much more of an impact than just reading an ebook online or something like that. It's Emerson had talked about that one time when we had him on the show, and I wish I could explain it as well as he did. But it's one of those things where you physically connect with the book or the piece of paper, and that connects with your brain. That's my layman way of explaining it.
Right. Well, and it says here that almost 20% of books consumed now are via electronic platforms. And I have to tell you that I guess I'm just old school. For me, I want to unplug, and I can't unplug if I'm on any kind of electronic device. Even if I'm reading, it's not the same for me. Now, it might work for y'all out there, but for me, it doesn't. I want to hold the book. I want to turn the pages. I want to be able to go, wow. And I want to pick it up right where I left off, with my bookmarker. So I don't have to go back through. So for
Yeah.
me, that's everything. But it says here that over 74% of Americans have read at least one book in the last 12 months,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
right?
That's very true. And as you were talking about that, Donna, what came to my mind is the fact that we all know the computer, the cell phone, it puts off, a form of a little bit of radiation, but the
Hmm.
radio frequency waves, you get away from all that electronic stuff.
Right,
You get away from the noise and distractions. You don't have any pop-ups in a book,
right.
unless it is a cartoon type of a book. It has pop-ups in it. But the fact I think it gives you a chance to just say, I'm getting away from all the noise and the nonsense. And I'm just going to, enjoy some quiet time because you can get off anywhere and read a book.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can't do that with a cell phone or laptop. Well, you maybe can with a cell phone, but anyway,
Well, yeah, I
that's
get
my
too
two
many
cents.
interruptions on my cell phone. So when I read
Yeah.
a book, I want that downtime. That's
Mm,
part of how I connect with me, and
yeah.
that's how I take a time in my life to get
Yeah.
my energy in balance, is doing
Es-
something for me.
Especially if you're a touch and feel kind of a person.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's because I'm like that. I'm a hands-on kind of a person, and but yeah, it's a National Read a Book Day, so I need to read more. I'm gonna start doing that. And one of the books that I want to mention that's very worthwhile of reading is Mr. Bill Heinrich,
Yes.
The Seven Levels of Truth. Yep, that's the front of it, and that's the back of it there. Bill Heinrich took over 25 years, about 30 years really, of creating that book because he walked away from his life. He was unhappy. He's the one that's really shared a lot of information on previous TV shows and with Don and me. He's taught us a lot about there's only two major emotions, there's love and there's fear.
And they cannot
Fear is,
coexist.
yes, ma'am. Fear is all physical. Love is where you want to be because you're worthy. I don't care if you don't have a penny in your pocket. So what? You're still someone and you're valuable and you deserve to be loved and enjoy the abundance of the universe. You really do.
Absolutely.
And I'm not talking about wealth. I'm talking about, a peace of mind, a
Mhm.
satisfied mind. Anyway, let me talk a little bit about the telephone since I'm an old radio guy. They say the day after Thanksgiving, listen to me, the day after Labor Day is the most busiest day for the telephone. Now, I don't know how they came up with that, but that's what they say. And because you think any day after a 3 day, after a holiday or something like that would be good, for the phone. But
Right.
anyway, they say Telephone Tuesday, that's the day it's been dedicated to it. And of course, we know the invention of the telephone dates back to Alexander Graham Bell back in the 1880s. I don't know the exact date. However, the first telephone was created was back in the 1660s. Did you know that, Donna?
No, I didn't. And that is
Oh,
what's
I
so
used that phone when I was a kid. The can? That's what they did. That's when it came around. I don't know if they had cans, but whatever they use is the same principle. Yeah.
well, I remember doing that as a kid. That was
Oh,
always
it was
fun.
fun. Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness, yes. And I remember, I got to throw this in. When I was in the military, we had a little, you might be able to pick these up at a VFW store, not a VFW store, but an Army surplus store is what I'm trying to say. They had these little crystals and they look like little plugs and they had little screws in the end of them. And you could wire two wires of those things to other telephones. And believe it or not, you could talk on those things. It did not require any batteries, no electricity whatsoever. And it's a great thing for like kids going out and camping, like Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, whatever, setting up little, and you can run the wire indefinitely. I mean, it doesn't matter how long the wire is, whether it's a quarter mile long or whatever in between stations, whatever, because they can still communicate because we use that in the military. So therefore,
Interesting.
if you like more information on that, I can get some information to you. Just email us here at the TV show, inspiration at e360tv.com. Our staff will get it and make sure that we get any email gets to the right person so we can give a very expedient response.
Absolutely.
But also to Donna, 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 Donna.
Well, this is
Today
an
is,
awesome one.
what's that?
Well, this particular national day is when caffeine lovers and ice cream lovers unite.
Mm,
So it's
mm,
National Coffee Ice Cream Day.
mm, mm.
And this started,
I swallowed my tongue.
I know, this was a combination that swept the world by storm. Are you ready for this? Since
Okay.
1919.
Yeah.
I didn't know it went back that far.
I did not either. I thought it was something invented in the 50s or 60s, you know. That shows you what I know.
Right?
But man, National Coffee Ice Cream Day. You know, there's been many times I've always sat down and enjoyed a good cup of coffee with some ice cream or
Mm-hmm.
apple pie with a scoop of ice cream on it, you
Okay.
know, and oh, yeah, yeah,
I got to go. I'm going to go make apple pie. See
yeah.
you later.
Yeah, we're going to be on commercial rest of the show, so we'll see you. We'll see you mañana. How about that?
Right?
But
Oh,
oh, it's a
goodness.
wonderful day. Yeah, it's really amazing how, you know, ice cream. They talk about Lady Ice Cream, English memorist, Lady Anne Fanchet, I think her name is. She documents the first ice cream recipe, and then the first ice cream machine was created in 1843, and Jacob Fussell, Fussell, and he created the ice cream. Owner of a dairy shop pours leftover cream and milk into artificial freezer at the time, and shortly afterward opened his first ice cream factory.
Nice.
After that, I mean, you know, we're just ice cream lovers. There's no doubt about it. Donna, yesterday in Monday's show, ladies and gentlemen, we started covering a lot of the warning systems about a heart attack.
Right.
There are some great systems there. And Donna, you brought out a very good point of how you may think sweats are associated with ladies with something else. Would you like to share that, please?
Absolutely. So, in doing our research for the show, and I did not know this, when you're in my age bracket, even a little younger, we go through menopause. And so we go to bed and we wake up and we're sweating and we automatically think, oh, it's menopause. And that can be a false security, ladies.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Again, a very false security. A night sweat is not necessarily linked to menopause, but it can be linked to heart issues. So what I'm saying here is that it can be a precursor sign that you have some heart problems.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's something that we need to be very cognitive of and take very seriously.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And where we found that information is a website called Healthline, HealthLine.com. Go there, look at those warning signs, and, just be prudent about it. Just be honest with yourself. I'm not talking about going there and getting scared or anything like that, because there's nothing, everything we've been through here and in preparing this show, we want you to be proactive rather than reactive.
Right.
I was forced into a reactive situation through my
Quite
ignorance.
quickly.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And, Donna, when it talks about warning signs and things like that, one of the things is that not all heart attacks are the same by a long shot.
Mm-mm.
And that's something that you got to look at. We covered about how age hereditary, that was the big thing that got me.
Right.
I didn't have high blood pressure, nor did I have high cholesterol. I'm certainly not obese. And I kind of eat healthy. I eat healthier now. And stress, I don't have much stress in my life. Physical inactivity, no, I'm not real active, but I do my exercise and stuff. I do more now, obviously. And it talks about, the chest pain, the pressure, discomfort, and not just chest pain, but you can have other symptoms too. Pain and
Right.
tightness. And I believe they mentioned the abdomen, the shoulder, the back, and
The neck,
yes,
and the jaw.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
And because you're not going to have the same symptoms that I had or anybody else had. Your
Right.
symptoms will be pertinent to you. It just depends. And Donna, that sweating day and night. Ooh,
Well, and here's another one, Jim, that
Mhm.
I did not know about, and it shocked me. Is when we get dizzy,
Mm. Oh, yeah.
right? So when you get dizzy, you bend down to pick something up or clean up a spill or what have you, and you bend down, and you're not like with your head straight down, but you get up and you're immediately dizzy, and it takes a minute to get your balance back. That can be a sign that you may have heart issues. And I did
Mhm.
not know that until I read about it yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm looking for this particular. It's a tropin. And when you're having a heart attack and they take your blood, they're looking specifically for that protein.
Right.
And the way that protein gets released, ladies and gentlemen, it gets released because the heart is a muscle
Hmm.
and it's pumping. And if it's got blockages in there, it's going to have to pump hard and it's trying to chisel its way through some of those blockages.
Right.
And in the process, that actually reduces this troponin, troponin. And when they see that in the blood, it's like anything else when you have your blood drawn. They got to look for a specific
Right.
thing to find it. Okay. When they look for that and they're specifically looking for it, they know then that you're having a heart attack. Because when I was in the hospital having my heart attack, they saw that and they immediately says, "Hey, take these 4 baby aspirins, swallow them down right now, and put this nitro underneath your tongue,"
Right.
and that dissipated the heart attack. So you just remember that all the symptoms we talked about, your heart is a muscle, and it's like anything else. Imagine you holding any type of a pliable material like a rubber balloon or anything like that, and you're trying to squeeze it to push water or fluid through the opening of it.
Right.
If it's blocked, it's going to take more pressure to squeeze it through. And that's exactly what your heart's going through. And that's why you're going to experience all these different warning signs and symptoms because they sneak up on you. They
Right.
really do.
They do. And so, one of the things that, the reason we're bringing this about this week is we feel is so important for us to all be more cognizant because I
Mhm.
think pretty much we can safely say, pardon me,
Mhm.
that there is nobody who doesn't have some kind of heart issues in their family, right?
Amen.
And so, we get busy with life
Mhm.
and cats. We get,
She lives in a cat house.
I do, but we get busy with life and we get complacent. And I think
Mm,
that's the key. We get
mm,
complacent. Well, my weight's good and I'm
mhm,
healthy and I eat properly and I usually get 8 hours of sleep and blah 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 blah. But when
mhm,
you have a hereditary factor of heart issues in your family, you
mhm,
need to talk to your doctor about it, even
mhm.
if you're not sure that you've had
Yeah.
any of the signs. You need to talk to your doctor about it because this is serious, folks. And the
Mhm.
difference between going and talking to your doctor about it and maybe having a few tests run is the difference between getting it nipped in the bud early
Mhm.
and or not and you have a heart
Yeah.
attack.
Yeah, be proactive about it. And Donna, I'm glad you mentioned that because I fell into a what I call my safety net.
Hmm.
I knew heart disease ran in my family.
Right.
Cancer don't attack us, Grant, so we're not sweet enough for that. But heart attacks and strokes, oh yeah, we get our fair share, and I think we fudged in on some of the other folks' ration on that one. But my point being, heart disease was it's hereditary. I did not know that. I mean, I
Right.
knew it was hereditary, but I didn't know I had it. That's what I'm trying to say. Because in my way of thinking, and this is why you need to talk to a cardiologist. Let me emphasize that.
Right.
You need to get an appointment, have your doctor get you an appointment with a cardiologist.
Yep.
Because, as I said yesterday, and you wind up in the ER with a heart attack, they're not going to call you a medical doctor. They're going to call a cardiologist.
Right.
most of the time, the medical doctors never even see the patient because that's not their area of expertise. But all the way through getting my test, blood test, lab work, all this stuff done, decade after decade after decade, my blood pressure was good, my cholesterol level was good. So I'm thinking, hey, I'm good to go.
Your weight was good, everything.
Yeah. I don't have diabetes. I don't have, I kind of eat, I fudge a little bit, but I eat pretty healthy, or try to most of the time. But what I did not realize, that hereditary is a big, big issue, more bigger than I realized.
Mm-hmm.
Because the doctors always tell me, says, hey, your cholesterol is great, your blood pressure is great. I mean, man, you may be 55 on the outside. I remember this doctor told me I was 54. Went in for a physical, and he said, you may be 54 in your age, but inside you're about 40. And so when you hear all this stuff, it gives you reason to believe
that you're safe.
That, yeah, you got a green light.
Right.
What I found out on Halloween night at midnight of all times, all dates, in 2021, I wound up in the ER with a heart attack, and it was from the Widowmaker. And we're going to cover that a little bit more in just a few minutes. But my point being, I had no idea that I had it.
Right.
It did not show any kind of symptoms. We're going to go into a few of the symptoms now, look for. But if heart disease, brand this into your brain, if heart disease runs in your family, please tell your doctor, I want to have an appointment with a cardiologist.
Right.
And talk to them about family history on heart disease, because you're not a subject matter expert in heart disease. That's why they have cardiologists.
Right.
Okay? Not trying to be rude or crude, but just because it's your health that's at stake.
It really is.
Don't be like me. I wound up this safety net that I thought I had, blood pressure good. And when I fell that
dropped
night,
you out pretty quick.
the hole, that safety net had a hole in it.
A big hole.
Yeah, and that's not fun. Trust me on that. But let's go into a little bit about some of the symptoms here and stuff. We talked about, some of the things you want to pay attention to for coronary artery disease, especially for men. The risk of heart disease goes up after age 55. For women, it rises sharply after menopause, as Donna was talking about. Mm-hmm. And there's several other things there, Donna. And being inactive, that is, your heart's a muscle.
Right. So, let's just, if we could, let's touch on that one a minute.
Okay.
Being active doesn't mean that maybe you have to be a gym rat, where you go down to the gym and you're there 6 days a week and you're there for 2.5 hours every day. Mm-hmm. But maybe you do some workout at home, right? Maybe you do things at home. I walk a lot.
Yeah, walking's good.
Right. And I also trim all the bushes, and I usually mow the lawn, and I do, I'm very active around my house. Mm-hmm. And of course, that in itself isn't enough, but, I walk at least 15 miles a week, go
ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, that's okay. Walking is wonderful, and it's not stressful on your body. And if maybe you are in the position where maybe walking is a little too much for you, what you can do is you can do right in your house. You can do, oh goodness, I lost the word, where you use your own arms and legs, where you just, bring them up and hold them, right? Yeah. Or get some light weights where you work with your arms. You can do that at home, and that will help.
Mm-hmm. There's these rubber, isometric. I'll call them, isometric. These rubber bands that are very expensive. You can get those just to build resistance or anything like that, because
the resistance bands.
Yeah, you want to be able to build strength in your muscles and exercise your heart, because walking is one of the greatest things that you can do for your heart. It's very friendly on your body, because running or jogging, that jars your knees, your joints. If you're past 50, if you see 40 in your rear view mirror way back there somewhere, you might want to consider doing some walking, because it's less wear and tear on the body.
Right.
Get good shoes. And this is kind of like my philosophy, with your cell phone or something like that, tune into something that you and nothing about news or politics, nothing like that. You want to either listen to music that you enjoy. If you're a rock and roller, that's fine. But a lot of people I know, or say a few people I know, they like to walk to the babbling brook sounds
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
because it's soothing.
Right.
And it's anything that's soothing like that
Ocean
is
waves,
very,
anything like
yeah, yeah, yeah. Anything that's, really, just takes you to a nicer, higher level because news and politics is not going to do that.
that.
It may have you punching stop signs on the way down the road or something. But
Right.
yeah, that's a great way of looking at it because being inactive is very much, also too, if you have diabetes or a metabolic syndrome, you need to take a look at that. And of course, we really hit hard on family history, family coronary heart disease. That's a big one because that's genetically high blood pressure. It can, take a look at that
Oh, absolutely.
and don't just rely on I'm going to eat the same way. I'm going to take my drugs, my medication, my blood pressure because your body is a processor. It's not a recycling center.
Right.
And what I mean by that, you can't put in junk in your body and then expect some medication to correct it, whether it's herbs or medication or whatever. And the LDL, the bad cholesterol, and HDL is the good cholesterol. My bad cholesterol 2 years before my heart attack was 76. But in the hospital after I had my heart attack, it was only 96.
Wow.
So by medical standards, I should be good to go, right?
Right. Right. But
And
one doesn't necessarily have to do with the other. It does a lot of times. But in this particular case on the Widowmaker, it didn't. So I'd like
it
to
did not. It did not discriminate. It,
No,
it
it
says,
didn't. But I kind of want to jump into this real quick, Jim, and
okay,
how serious this is. So a Widowmaker heart attack is a complete blockage of
Mhm.
the left anterior descending
Right.
artery.
Mhm.
Okay. So what happens is a heart attack starts when a clot, of course, is formed in one of the three arteries, the
Mhm.
muscular tubes that supply blood to your heart.
Mhm.
That clot, blood clot, or that clot
Yeah.
blocks the oxygen,
Blockage. Mhm.
right? The oxygen rich blood that your heart needs to pump.
Mhm.
Without enough blood, the heart, part of that heart muscle dies.
Mhm.
And so
Right.
the reason that the Widowmaker is even more serious is because it is a total blockage of the
Yes.
artery that supplies blood to the front of your heart. And that
Mhm.
is the largest part.
Mhm.
So, of course, again, that's a left anterior descending artery.
LAD. Mhm.
hmm
Mhm. Yeah.
And when it's blocked at the beginning or the very top of the artery, your heart muscle gets no oxygen.
Exactly. And there was a study done in 2009 at the University of California that said 70% of the people who wind up in an ER with a heart attack had previous warning signs, and that is yours truly right here.
Right,
There was
right.
no red flag anywhere on the sign. And like Donna says, the LAD, that's the front part, that's the lower front part, that is the main pump of the heart. I mean, it's not the
That's the
only one,
big
but
guy.
that's a big one. And the Widowmaker, what it does, it starts blocking. And let me tell you how that thing got discovered on me. This is a nicety to know. I had my heart attack, like I said, midnight at Halloween 2021, Friday night. I stayed in the hospital, from then on. I was in there Saturday and Sunday. All the tests they ran on me. Every time they take a blood pressure reading, every time they do an EKG or read the EKG, every time they drew blood out of the back of my hand. That's how that number got up to 67. All the way through, the Widowmaker never one time raised its head.
Right.
The way I found out about it, because they kept telling me I was going to need stents. And come Monday morning, I said, "Well, I'll take you in there, give you some stents. You're going to be going home this afternoon. You're going to feel great. Yada, yada, yada. You're going to feel like a canary. You're going to sing your little heart out, you know?" And, you know what I mean? I was really looking forward to it after being stuck in a hospital all weekend, those getting poked and stuck and everything else. But I went in there and they put the dye in, and I didn't feel the dye going through my veins or anything like it. It's, and I'm looking at the screen up there. Okay. Now, when you look at that screen, what you're going to see, you're going to see like black worms. Okay. And that's about the way it looks, the veins in there. If it's dark, it's good. Where it gets gray or kind of subdued, very gray, that's
Not
bad.
good.
That's a
Not good.
blockage. And I'm looking at it, I see this tool, little tool going through there, and you pull it back and go through it again. And then the cardiologist looked at me and he says, "Jim, I'm sorry, this procedure will not work for you." He says, "You have the widowmaker. And you're going to need open heart surgery. You're going to need it today. I'm going to transfer you to ICU." And he said, "We cannot turn you loose because this is too dangerous."
Right.
Or words to that effect. And I remember in the hospital, I asked the cardiologist, I says, "Is there a test I could have taken that would have revealed that I had the widowmaker?" And no, not really. I mean, the only way that's why you need to, if heart disease runs in your family, go get an appointment with a cardiologist.
Right. And especially if someone in your family has died, boom, out of the blue.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Then it was a heart attack, of course.
Oh yeah.
It was a widowmaker.
Mhm.
It was
Chances
probably
are.
a 90% chance that they had a widowmaker. So that's important. But Jim,
Yeah.
here's something else that, of course, we know symptoms, right? Chest pain, shortness of breath, you get lightheadedness, you can get nausea or vomiting. But now, of course, both men and women can get the widowmaker. But I want to go over this because I feel it's so important.
Okay.
Women who have had these types of heart attacks, widowmakers, they're more likely to have unusual symptoms, pain in the neck or in the jaw, sweating, tiredness, shortness of breath. Now here, listen to this one. Flu-like symptoms. So here we go thinking, "Oh man, I got a touch of a bug. Kind of feels like I got a little bit of the flu." You may not be having the flu. That's why it's so important to talk to your doctor about your health, especially, especially considering heart issues.
And the beauty of it is, ladies and gentlemen, I think they do want, I don't know, hundreds of thousands, if not 1 million or more, open heart surgeries and things like that in the U.S. alone. But
Right.
the thing of it is that do not live in fear. Be proactive. Don't be reactive like I was. And I didn't have any warning signs because people ask me, "Jim, did you have any warning signs?" Oh, just a few hours before it happened, maybe, I had some chest pain and all that. But prior to that, I mean, and I got to back that up. I got to correct myself. I did experience fatigue. But let me tell you how I justified that and reasoned that in my mind. I remember we were over in Chapel Hill with one of these, fall events that, a lot of little towns have, and they bring in different vendors and stuff like that. And I really don't have a lot of interest going around looking at, different things like that. I really don't. I'm interested in, if they got honeys or herbs or something like that. But as far as looking at the artsy, it doesn't do a whole bunch for me. That's me personally. So what I did, and I felt kind of tired, so I justified it in my mind. I'm going to let Lisa and Evelyn go shopping. Now, I'm the bag guy. I'll just sit here, and when they need me to carry bags to the car, they'll call me. They'll call me, yeah. But see, I fell into a trip bag there. I justified in my mind when I got tired and didn't feel like doing something. I don't feel like doing that anyway, you know?
Right.
And that was one thing that I did experience, but I did not connect the dots.
And that's our problem.
Yeah.
We get so busy with life
Hmm.
that we don't connect the dots. We're not
Yes,
listening
ma'am.
to our body. And this is what we're really talking about here, folks.
Yeah.
We have to listen to our body.
Hmm. Hmm. And afterwards, we had went down to Galveston in September, and then we went to this festival in October. Looking back, Lisa told me, she says, Dad, I didn't quite realize it, but I could notice a difference between the way you were in September and the way you were in October. And that's just a month.
Wow.
Yeah. And I didn't realize that.
Hmm.
But, hey, the way I look at it was a blessing in disguise. But our point being is that, we want you to be proactive, take a look at things, and just tell your regular doctor, your medical doctor, get me an appointment with a cardiologist. I want to talk to him about heart disease,
Right.
especially if it runs in your family.
Right.
I mean, that's a major red flag right there. I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just saying be proactive rather than reactive because look at me. I mean, I had open heart surgery, 4 bypasses. I took off in November and December to rest, and Donna told me, don't do anything. If I need you, I'll call you. And she hung up my phone and turned it off. No, but really, I mean, you got to rest. But the point of it is that it's in the rearview mirror of my life. And now that I've made adjustments in my life, imagine how you would feel. Like I went to the cardiologist back in last month. He checked me over and he says, wow, man, you're doing great. He says, worked out a lot. Good. You're keeping up your cardio. You're doing this. You're doing that. He says, realistically, I don't see any more problems with your heart on the horizon.
Right.
Now, picture from where I was to where I am today.
Mm-hmm.
And if I would have been proactive, if I'd have been smart and been proactive, maybe I could have avoided the open heart surgery or something. I don't know. But the fact of it is that even though I went from calam bam to wham, I didn't let it conquer me.
Right.
I don't mean to sound egotistical about that. I mean, I just said, okay, I'm going to deal with this. I'm going to live with this, but I'm going to rise up, be like the phoenix and rise out of the ashes. I like that.
Right. Well, and this article is so interesting, Jim. It talks about, can a widowmaker heart attack be prevented? And it says here, to avoid a widowmaker, you need to manage the major risk factors for heart disease.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, again, go with your doctor. You got heart disease in your family, talk to your doctor. They will refer you to a cardiologist. But
Yes.
you eat, a heart-friendly diet with lots of fruits and vegetables and exercise daily. Try and stay at a healthy weight for your height. If you smoke, quit. All kinds of ways out there to quit smoking. See your doctor for regular checkups to detect heart disease. And, if you have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, there's medicine and different ways to combat that. But it's super important because, again, like Jim said, he didn't know that he had it. So if you do have that in your family, that someone has died instantly of a heart attack, that's pretty close indicator that there's been widowmakers in your family. And they can test you for that by doing that same test that you had, Jim.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it's, I'll tell you a nicety to know. Right here on the wrist, let me turn my hand there, right there. That's where they insert that big needle. Now, make sure you make a mental note of this, because I looked over there and this needle they put in there is not your normal needle. This thing is about 4 inches long. It's white. It's about the size of an ice pick. I mean, this thing is big. I looked at that and I thought, oh my goodness, that's going to hurt. And the guy says, you're not going to feel the pain. You're not going to feel anything. I've already deadened it. And she started pushing it in. Of course, I looked the other way and I said, brother, I'm glad you dead now, because right now, otherwise you and I'd be watching my toenails grow right through my socks. But the thing of it is, just a little thing like that, you can have that test done. And I didn't feel a thing. I didn't feel any of the fluid running through her. I just saw what I saw there on the screen. I saw the veins, the dark veins are good. The gray veins are not good.
Right.
But the main thing of it is you will know that you know where you stand. And it's very important. I mean, after all, if they got the nerve to demand, and I got to go in for this, and I'm not looking forward to it, demand you have a colonoscopy, I mean, have a be checked for, you know what I'm talking about. I hate them things. They've been after me for about 3 years to do that now, and I'm going like, I ain't got time.
I'll get a hold of Evelyn. I have her number.
Oh, yeah, that's mighty Christian of you. Thank you much. But, I mean, if they got the audacity to do that to you, I'd have the audacity to say, hey, you're going to check me out here. I want to know that I know, that, especially if heart attacks and strokes and heart disease runs in your family. Mm-hmm. That is mandatory, because my dad, he died in 1978 from heart attacks and strokes just a week before Christmas. And I'm convinced he had the Widowmaker, because my brother had a Widowmaker. He had to have surgery. I had the Widowmaker. So we didn't get it for Christmas, I don't think. it didn't come in a gift. So, but point being is they've advanced so much. Mm-hmm. And please, please, please don't worry about if you have to have open heart surgery or something. Don't beat yourself up like that, because yes, they do send you home with a zipper, they call it, and your breastbone has been cut in two. But you know what? It wasn't painful.
Right.
It really wasn't. And I would not lie to you for anything in the world. I mean, they give me some real, I guess we still got some in the house here, but they give me some stuff there and it'll put you in orbit around Jupiter.
Right.
And, but anyway, let's drive on. Enough of that.
Well, before there was a few other symptoms I found on another website that I think it's maybe okay to go over, because again, different symptoms with different people. Not everybody who has a Widowmaker is going to have, the same symptoms. Mm-hmm. But of course, feeling chest pain or discomfort, experiencing pain that radiates out into your arms, legs, back, neck, or jaw. Mm-hmm. Having pain in your abdomen area. Okay, now ready? Here's the kicker, y'all. Feels like heartburn. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Having muscle pain in your chest, of course. Having difficulty breathing. Like you said yesterday's show, Jim, feeling anxious or panicky for no reason. Oh, yeah. Right?
That was my symptom when I was having a heart attack.
Feeling dizzy, lightheaded, or disoriented. Getting sweaty without warning. Feeling sick. Throwing up. Oh, yeah. And feeling like your heart is skipping beats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Because one thing as you were talking there popped in my mind. When I got to the hospital that night, my blood pressure was 190 over 111. And I forget what my heart rate was, but that thing was beating like a sewing machine, because your heart is trying to pump that blood. It's got all these blockages here, and it's working harder. So if your heart is racing or pumping faster than normal for no apparent reason, in other words, you haven't been walking, you haven't been, you haven't been scared or anything like it. You just, you know what I mean? It's just beating very fast for no reason. That's a warning sign.
Yes, it is.
Because it's trying to pump. It's trying to work harder to get the same amount of blood through that blockage. So, just be proactive on it, folks. That's all you got to do, because, man, I mean, the survival rate, I mean, goodness gracious, yeah.
Yeah, we're up there. And, it really was shocking to me, Jim, in doing the research for this show, that some of the things, and I can't stress this enough, because I have heart issues on all sides of my family, cancer, just in the gifted program, you might say. So, but I did not know about I knew about some of the differences in women, right? But I did not know that sweating was one of them. I did not know that being dizzy. So what I read is it was startling to me that
Hmm.
being dizzy is absolutely not normal.
Hmm.
So if you get dizzy often, that is a red flag.
Yeah,
That is a red flag.
absolutely. Because your body's not getting enough blood and oxygen to the brain, and
Right.
that's because of the blockages and all that. Uh, Also, to if you do have dizziness, I mean, they can just a simple blood test can check and see whether or not you're anemic. Because if you're anemic, that will cause to be a little dizzy when you get up and stuff like that. But just be proactive. I'm not talking about sound like you should be a hypochondriac or anything like that.
No,
No.
no, no, no.
But what we're talking about is take a look at that and just be realistic and say, I'm going to be proactive here.
Right.
And just be honest with your doctor and say, this is what I'm experiencing. This is the family history. Just for my own peace of mind, I'd like to talk to a cardiologist and have them do a test on me, whatever it might be.
Right.
And I'm going to, accept whatever it is, and
And meet it
I'm
head
gonna
on.
go for it. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And I'll tell you another thing too. When I was in the hospital there, I had the surgery on Monday. On Wednesday night, my heart went into AFib. That's a lot of fun. It happens once in a while. For it can about a third of the time. I think he said, the cardiologist. You and your heart's really beating, and for those of you that's been through AFib, you know what I'm talking about. You lay there and you pant like a dog. You just can't seem
Mhm.
to get off the treadmill. And this is what was going through my bird brain. I was thinking, oh my gosh, they took the veins out of my legs and they sewed them, below the blockages in of my, the arteries in my heart, and then they tie it back in above. Man, I hope I don't spring a leak there. I hope they stitched it in real good or glued it in or whatever. But see, no one else was concerned about that except me,
Right.
and that just goes to show you that I worried needlessly for no reason at all. But it's kind of like that old saying, sometimes where you stand depends on where you've been forced to sit. But my point being, and through all of it, do not panic because your heart is a muscle, and just be proactive. As we keep saying over and over, we want to brand that into the brain. That's important.
Well, I'd like to read this little excerpt if I could
Okay,
about
sure.
worry. Okay,
Oh,
because
yeah.
when it comes to our health, of course, we are super concerned,
Hmm.
right? And concerned for our family as well, we should be. But when we worry over it to the point where it's consuming, I want you to remember this. Worry is a thief. It can steal your time, joy, peace, and energy.
Hmm.
When worry comes knocking, you can either answer the door or turn your worry into trust.
Mm.
Don't give up now.
Mm. There you go. I like that, Donna. Because worry, it's a drain on your battery. It's like getting out of your car and leaving the headlights on.
Right. Or
It's
leaving
just
the
a
AC running without the car turned on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just a needless drain on your
It
body
really
and in
is.
your life. It really is.
It
And
really is. And so,
mhm.
I look at everything in my life, Jim, and I know you do the same. Um, I would rather meet everything head on.
Mhm.
I'm just that kind of person. I've survived a
Oh yeah.
lot so far in my life. And
Mhm.
I would rather meet everything head on and say, okay, let's find out what's going on and let's figure out how we're going to with this and then go from there. Because
Mhm.
when I don't know what is going on,
Mhm.
that's when, and I think it's just human nature, Jim, that's
Mhm.
when all that worry and all the things that we conjure up in our brain
Mhm.
come to the forefront because we
Oh yeah.
don't know exactly what the hell's wrong with us,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
But when we know, then with our doctors, guess what? We create a concrete plan. And when you
Mhm.
have that concrete plan in place, guess what goes away?
Fear
Worry,
and worry.
because you
Yeah.
now have a plan in place.
Yeah. Yeah. Because your mind's going to act like a kid anyway.
Oh,
Yeah, the sky is falling. The sky is falling.
Right. It's just gonna go bonkers on you. And
Mm,
I used to worry about things. Give me your worry. I'll worry it for you. I mean, that's how
yeah.
I used to be. And I got to tell you now, I seldom worry about anything. I don't stress about a whole lot. I might
Hmm.
be concerned,
Hmm.
but I don't worry. And
Yeah.
there is a difference,
Hmm.
because worry is when it's constant, constant, constant.
Yeah.
Concern
That's
means,
true.
yep, I know it's there, but guess what? I still got to go and take care of this and do this. And I got my business to take care of. And I've
Hmm.
got my family to take care of, my animals. And I
Hmm.
go on about my day. And that
That's
is a
right.
huge difference, Jim.
Oh yeah. And besides that, Donna's got a ball bat. If you mess with her, she'll
I,
knock
ac-
the worry right out of you.
I actually do carry one in my car.
That's for them deserving individuals who need a little thump
Some
therapy about the
therapy.
way the world should turn. A little thump therapy, yeah. But yeah, it's we're going to be back tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be talking some more about heart disease, and we're going to be covering some more interesting topics there for you. And we're going to get into some things that and most importantly, what we're covering. You can see us. In fact, let's put up our web page there. Let me look for it here. It's somewhere down here.
I got it.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Just our TV show.live. That's all you need to know, because all of our shows are there on the website there. We're getting it upgraded and things, but all of the shows are there. You can get it there. You can watch it. You can also find us on YouTube at Messages of Inspirational Stories TV show.
Hmm.
And please subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's the link there. But most importantly, there are people out there that that need to hear this information,
Absolutely.
and to know that they don't have to live in fear. They can be proactive rather than reactive, and they can live. That's how you live an abundant life.
Right.
It really is. It's taking charge, taking responsibility.
And that's how you control your energy balance, folks.
Oh yeah,
When
yeah.
you are proactive and then have that plan in place,
Mhm.
your energy balance stays in its proper circle.
Mm.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
But when you don't, your energy level drops
Mhm.
because you don't have the plan in place. You don't have the answers you need, that you
Mhm.
know that you need. And
Oh
then your
yeah.
worry
Mhm.
comes
Oh
in
yeah.
and robs you of all your energy.
That's right. And you're worth a lot more. Do not let worry make you feel like a rag doll in the mouth of a dog and being chucking to and from. I mean, my goodness gracious. People ask me how I felt when the cardiologist said that to me about, you got to put you in ICU, you got to have open heart surgery. And I really was kind of like, oh, kind of like that. And
Right.
I just said to myself, I said, well, it's in your hands, Lord. If the surgery goes well, I go home. If it doesn't go well, I go home, because I've been poked and prodded and done with, lack
Right.
of sleep, lack of love, lack of good food, everything. I just lack in all departments. But immediately, this peace and calmness came over me because it pushed worry away and fear. And
Mhm.
I knew everything instantly, like a light bulb fills a room, that
Right.
everything was going to be okay. I was in good hands. The surgery would go well, it heal well, and well, evidently the surgery went well, and evidently everything healed well. So here I am in living color.
Right. Right. But
The-
folks, we are out
yeah.
of time.
Yes,
We're
ma'am.
going to be back tomorrow with
Yeah.
some more amazing information on
Hmm.
how to take care of ourselves and our loved ones
Hmm.
with
Yeah.
heart issues.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, be sure and love yourself first, and then you can love others. Most importantly, you know, make a promise to yourself that you're going to love yourself, you're going to forgive yourself. As Donna likes to say, you're going to give yourself.
Grace.
And most importantly, make a commitment to yourself that you're going to live the life that you so richly deserve with love and abundance, and let fear go away.
Absolutely.
Because all fear is going to do is to just be like a
Rob you of your
robber.
life.
Yes. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.
Bye, folks.